23 seconds on the power play. Shot a goal, rebound shot, he scores! King in front of the net like he's done all game, buries that rebound, 2-0.
What a great job by the Cougars. A really good chance there. Just had to tap it in, but he couldn't.
On the Prowl, keeping up with the Mount Royal University Cougars.
Welcome to On the Prowl on the Sportsnet The Fan 960, where we talk about Mount Royal University Cougar athletics. My name is Jordan Magnuson, and I'm alongside Dylan Dodge, and this is going to be a special wrap-up episode of On the Prowl. All the athletes taking off for the 2015 break, start kicking things back up again in 2016. And Dylan, before we actually talk about that 2016 season, let's talk about a couple of the teams that managed to actually snap their losing skids here before they're heading off to their vacation.
Yeah, it was great to be there. Obviously, you and I there for our respected streams in terms of play-by-play and color. In fact, one night I did both, so that was a unique experience as well. But in terms of the streaks being snapped, men's volleyball was snapped over the weekend. They beat Trinity Western on the first night, I should say, not the second night, which is a bit par for the course for the men's volleyball team, if we're being honest here.
Well, the men's volleyball finally snapping that skid, though, and the thing is that we knew that they had the talent. They have those outside hitters and Tyler Schmidt and Andrew McWilliam pound the ball consistently, but the problem is that they've had some shaky defense at times, and they just can't get any momentum going in a lot of these games.
Well, I mean, even when we were back here at the Kenyon court, we saw a lot of shots going towards the libero Wickstrom. Do you wonder if that he's really had to improve his game this year in terms of stepping up, seeing as teams are targeting him?
Yeah, and the thing with Brisbane, too, is he's already got over 250 assists in 12 games played, which is immense. He's got a lot of options there, but again, like we said, it's a defense that needs to just kind of pick it up. They did get swept 3-0 in the next night, and that's obviously kind of been a weird curse for the Mount Royal Cougars this season. Friday nights, across all sports have been really good, and then the Saturday night kind of hampers them. It's the Saturday night hangover, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, especially when you put in a good performance Friday night, you come into the game with confidence, but also maybe a bit of complacency, and that's something that the Cougars need to work on in the new year. Women's volleyball, unfortunately, not getting anything to go against Trinity Western at all last weekend, but they did have a few wins before against UBC and whatnot, so they're not in a bad position. And in fact, I think they had the better early stages than the men's squad, if you exclude the men's 4-0 start.
Yeah, they started off quite strong, but they've kind of shaken off here. They're 7th in the final playoff spot in the conference, so they're still in a playoff spot, but at 5-7, obviously you want to improve that, and they've got the talent to do that, like Alex Donaghy, Taylor Pellin, Carolina Longy, and Kylie Willis as well. All four of those have been like the main key players for this women's volleyball squad, and you know what, they're clinging on to that playoff spot at the moment, but if they want any chance of sticking in there, because teams are going to heat up after this break, Mount Royal Cougars need to be one of those.
I mean, certainly, that's going to be the final stretch there. If you can get hot at the right time, we saw it with the men's basketball last year. They almost made the playoffs due to a hot streak. If you can come back from this January break and hit the ground running, that's going to be perfect. Exactly what the team wanted. And like you said, a name that you didn't mention was the libero Runge. And even when Runge has been out, they've had a very good ability to switch things around when she's not there.
They will be playing again. Both teams, the men's and women's volleyball, will be back in action January 8th and 9th when they take on the Thompson Rivers University Wolfpack. Those games will actually be over at the Kenyon court here at Mount Royal University. And we talked about volleyball. We've also got another court playing over the Kenyon court. That's the women's and men's basketball team.
Yeah, they both took on UNBC, not the Wolfpack, unlike we mistaken. It was the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves and Cougars playing at Kenyon Court, and what a great 4 games that was. Even with the Cougars losing 2 out of the 4, wonderful games, close and tense in the final minutes.
Driscoll. I want to talk about Driscoll there, especially for the women's basketball side. What a game from her. She kind of took that first one on her back. Those steals coming in the second one as well. The main thing that happened that game that was different than any other one is that she wasn't the only one getting steals on the ball there. There was a lot of secondary players that were stealing the ball. Points off turnovers for that women's basketball game were the reason why they won that matchup.
I mean, especially the second game, because like you said, you saw Driscoll doing what she does, pickpocketing, but then you saw steals from Nash, Sagir, Melissa Moore, stuff like that, and that really helped the team. And they're not that great of a team in terms of turnovers and converting them. So that was a great example of why they won that game against the T-Wolves after losing the first game.
And then on the men's side, finally snapping that streak. We talked about that Saturday hangover. Didn't really happen for the men's Mount Royal squad as they won that second game. and that was massive. They were on a 6-game losing skid. They won the first game of the season, and we talked about how it's a new-look squad from the Mount Royal Cougars, and they started off strong. They had a great preseason as well, although the record didn't really show it. And then we've seen that the talent's there, but that streak just kind of stuck at them, and it's the reason why they're out of the playoffs. But that Saturday night game gave them the momentum to hopefully carry on back in January.
They played beyond their age, which I think was an important part. You saw a lot of first years like Yellowhorn step up, and Leighton's been doing it all season long, but he had a really good series. And especially that weekend, you saw Derek Wolfe and James Lefebvre absolutely light it up. They had unbelievable games. And one guy I really wanted to point out was Glenn Yang. I think he did a wonderful job. He brought energy. He didn't have the points quite, 17 points in the 2 games. He had over 10 assists one game, though. That's what I think was the big thing, is he set up people, and he really and did make life easy for the Timberwolves.
But remember here, you talked about it back in the volleyball. The men's basketball team finished last season 10-10. They had that hot streak at the end, but 10-10 did not get them in the playoffs. And with only 2 wins heading into the break there, they're going to need to be well above a 500 squad if they want any chance of making that playoff push. They're on a 5-game losing skid right now, and there was a lot expected from these guys. I know that they're a young team.
This isn't looking well for the Cougars, but a valiant effort and a lot of positives to come out here, even if they don't get the result. And that's going to be it. That's all she wrote. Mount Royal falling in the first game. We'll be back tomorrow. Mount Royal 73, UNBC 77.
And Leighton, his second block of the game, swats that one. Yeah, back out to Yellowhorn. Yellowhorn 3-point try. He hits nothing but net. Cougars 80-72 UNBC.
The energy's back. Noah Lewis leading the cheer brigade from the bench.
On Saturday, November 28th, the MRU Cougars snapped their 6-game losing streak, winning against UNBC 88-73. Second-year starter Glenn Yang had arguably the best weekend of the season, bringing crucial energy, intensity, speed, and racking up 17 points and 10 assists over 2 games.
I feel like I played pretty decent, a lot better than last night. I got a lot of the shots I was looking for.
The men's team also got huge games from Leighton, Wolfe, Lefebvre, Yellowhorn, and overall played superbly in the second game. Now the team gets a break until January and hopes the momentum of their last win carries them in 2016.
One thing that I'm really excited about this year is the women's hockey. I mean, let's not delay this any further. They have had the best season so far in the CIS. They've been absolutely superb. We see a 2-1 double overtime victory at the Flames Community Arena against U of C, and what you said was one of the most exciting games in CIS that you've watched.
Yeah, I don't know how you top that one. You've got cross-Crowchild rivals in the UFC Dinos and the Mount Royal Cougars. You have Olympians over there playing there. No Haley Wickenheiser on the Dinos this time around, but I don't know if that just made it more even or what it was, because the Cougars, they played a heck of a game. So did the Dinos to force a double overtime as well. And, of course, you got the 2 Russian Olympians on there as well. It was so fast. It was women's hockey. That was a great one to watch.
Yeah, could you imagine if the Dinos kept their current squad and then just added Wickenheiser back?
Yeah.
Because I think not having her there was disappointing, obviously, for us and the broadcasters, but also for the team. You could see it was a different team than last year.
Yeah, how many gold medals does Wickenheiser have? Something like 4. It's greatest Canadian hockey player of all time, arguably, and yeah, you obviously put her on the ice, it's going to be a different team, but regardless, you had that Calgary feel. You saw the Dinos fans over at the Flames Community Arenas as well, and so that was a heck of a game to watch, and I'm excited for that Crowchild Classic. Of course, that Crowchild Classic will take place in January, and that will be over at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, and that's always a huge event. That place is always packed, and it's getting even more packed as the years progress too. Is always setting more records of attendance-wise, and those games are just, you had the women's hockey between the Dinos and the Cougars, and then you've got the main event, the men's hockey there as well, which is just so much fun to watch. And one of those teams that are bound to make the playoffs, or hopefully bound to make the playoffs, will be the men's hockey Mount Royal Cougars. But to get there, they're in an incredibly hard division.
Certainly, I think they have one of the toughest divisions in all of CIS, to be honest, in that Canada West division. But what I think the big part is the fact that they took a win away in Edmonton against U of A, who was lifting a banner that night. I think that was the moment when Mount Royal realized they can achieve that pinnacle of raising their own banner.
Yeah, U of A, but you also got teams like University of Saskatchewan, University of Calgary Dinos. Of course, that game is going to be a Crowchild Classic over at the Calgary Scotiabank Saddle Dome over in January. I'm excited for that, and I actually got a chance to sit down with goaltender Colin Cooper to talk about his time with the men's hockey Mount Royal Cougars. All right, we are here with Colin Cooper, goaltender for the Mount Royal University Cougars. Our Cougars team off to a solid start to the season thus far. Colin, how's it going?
Going well. What about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I know you got exams and stuff coming up here, and the student athlete life. How's that been?
I mean, it's been good. Like, it's been an adjustment coming from junior for 3 years, where pretty much the only thing you're doing is practice and then games. So, I think the first semester has been good. I'm finally kind of understanding how you gotta time manage better, but yeah, settling in well.
Let's talk about coming into this season, and obviously Cam Landon, one of the goaltenders there, and when he went down, you played exceptional. And let's talk about how you transitioned to that role of starting goalie.
I mean, fortunate enough, like I played a lot of games last year in junior. I played 52 out of the 60, so that starting role wasn't too nerve-wracking. But obviously, like the new team, new guys, and then when Lanny went down, I was a little nervous. But they helped me out quite a lot, and they helped me settle in and made it really easy on me for sure.
What was the transition like? So I know that you played for the Calgary Canucks, and I'm actually doing the play-by-play for the Canucks, and spoilers, they're still not that very good. But the Calgary Canucks so far, like coming in from AJHL, coming into CIS, was there a major transition there?
Definitely. Guys are older. Like going from being the oldest to now being the youngest. I mean, guys are just that much faster, that much harder shots, and I find the plays like just much quicker. So I think getting my speed up was getting probably the hardest part.
For sure. Let's talk about the game. So you're facing people that are older and faster and everything. Are there certain attributes that you see in a lot of these players, because you play with them as well? So you got like very strong players coming in from guys like Cody Karche and further. What's it like to play on a team with such talented players?
Oh yeah, we have some amazing forwards like Karts, Fitz, Brownie, like the whole team. They're all great guys. Like I think the skill level they have is so far like just the biggest change. You're like coming down, and in practice you got guys that you don't even really see the puck once they release it, and I think that's helped me get better too. Like going against those guys in practice just makes it that much better for games.
The season so far, you had that little bit of, you were playing awesome Friday, and then the Saturday games were kind of eluding for you, and we actually talked to your head coach about that. How do you interpret your season so far?
I think we've had a good start. Like, I mean, the thing that's kind of getting us right now is our Saturday games. Like, even last weekend, we played really well against Sask. Friday got the win, and then kind of came out a little slower in the first. But I think we kind of got over it, like, mentally. It's more of a mental block, I think, because we always work hard and we put on the effort and just an effort-based team. I think if we can kind of figure out that mental side of it for the second half, like, I think that's kind of the only thing holding us back right now.
So you guys just finished playing your games. Now you're on to a winter break and you're traveling out. And what are your plans for the holidays here?
I think just right now, just getting through exams. I mean, studying and finishing all my projects, and then take a little bit of a break, but stay on my workouts, try and get on the ice a bit, and just be ready to go for the second half.
How much does hockey play involved in this break for you guys?
I think we have one more week of practice, and then I think we come back again on the 30th for practice again. So a little bit of a break in there.
You're headed into the second half of the season afterwards, and I know it's still a month away, but these games are awfully important because of how tight your division is and how skilled that entire division is. What's something you guys are focusing on when you come into the second half of the season? Yeah,
I mean, this division is so tight, and there's only, I think, 12 games in the second half there, so it'll be really intense for us to just get on a streak, get a roll right away. I think just bringing our effort every game, and that'll be half the battle. Is just working hard every game, getting sure we're putting in good efforts both nights, and I think our skill will take over and have a really good second half.
Let's talk about in January. You got one of the most exciting games coming up, and I know it's your first year with the Cougars, but you've got the Crowchild Classic, and of course that's the one University of Calgary Dinos coming in over the Saddle Dome, joining the MRU Cougars. And have you actually been a part of that as a fan before? Is this your first time actually heading into the Saddle Dome as a player?
No, yeah, first time as a player, but I came last year with our team. We went and watched, and it was probably one of the coolest atmospheres I've been to. I mean, you see the half the rink red, half the rink blue, and the MRU fans were definitely more rowdy. That was awesome to see, and definitely got me excited because that's when I started talking to Bert more about this year, and so it's exciting to see that. And I think this year, like as a player, it'll be cool to see the other side of it, kind of look up and see the fans, and yeah, hopefully we get to win in that one for sure.
And how are you with nerves? I guess you got thrown into the role here, and then you're gonna have a big performance watching in front of not only just an audience over at the Saddle Dome, but it's gonna be televised as well. Like, are you okay with nerves and dealing with that as a goaltender?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been pretty good. Like, I'm a pretty laid back guy, so nerves don't usually get to me too much. I'm fortunate that way, just kind of be able to relax and take it easy and know that in the end, like, it is a game and we're here to enjoy it. And so I think like having the fun in the game as well, like, but like balancing that with like the competitiveness is what helps without getting nerves.
Colin Cooper, thanks a lot for being on the show, man.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me.
That is it for this episode of On the Prowl. Of course, this is the last one in 2015. We'll see you guys in 2016. We've actually got a volleyball-focused episode on January 2nd. Again, thanks to all of our sponsors. Our interview with Colin Cooper. Thanks a lot for doing that one. And, of course, Mount Royal Broadcasting for letting us get this job done. My name is Jordan Magnuson.
And I'm Dylan Dodge. Have a happy holiday season, a fantastic new year. We'll be back January 2nd, like Jordan said. And once again, special thank you to our producer, Spencer Schultz, as well as our director, Landon. Thank you all for listening, and we hope to have you tune in after the break.